Come, let us explore the hidden benefits of meditation that nobody tells you. Together as a team, let us relaxingly recite this chapter known as the spiritual Swiss Army knife that is mindfulness and meditation. Together. The Nobel laureate Albert Einstein is said to have quipped, "Any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex, and more violent. However, it takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction." In a vast ocean-like throng of rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel fools, there are many who insist that enlightenment is attainable only for the special few, who live in a special place, in a special time, with special companions, and have received special teachings from a special teacher, because they're so damn special, and we're not. But that is not what the Buddha taught. Real or archetypical, he taught that enlightenment was as simple as mastering the Eightfold Path, and that could be done in as little as 7 days. How egalitarian is that? The key to this, right view that empowers letting go, 4 points of right love, and the effortless effort of having choices, utterances, and deeds flow from love's centered spontaneity, is simply mindfulness and meditation. For when practiced enthusiastically, sustainably, and effectively, mindfulness and meditation are the spiritual equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. In the golden age of proto-Buddhism, before the folly of institutionalism set in like black mold infesting a cabin in the woods, the only teachings were the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, which contained the essence of all morality, which is loving kindness, or metta. Remember, actively striving to focus upon or analyze loving kindness could produce nothing more than a mere analog, pale and flaccid and worthless and weak. For the highest love, spontaneous and uncontrived, is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Yearning to do the loving thing is all well and fine, but how could we know what the right thing is, what the most kind manner is in which to do it, and when the most kind time is in which it must be done? Centered spontaneity. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from centered spontaneity, which in turn is generated by our practice of mindfulness and meditation, love's kindness is as natural, effortless, and potent as our next breath. For those of us who are keen to devote ourselves to an Ajahn, Roshi, Shifu, or Lama, our ultimate teacher, simply our mindfulness and meditation, for the sole purpose of the outer teacher is to acquaint us with the inner one, which could be done in but a single sitting. Sitting, my mistake. For those who are keen to make offerings, there is no finer object of such gifts than our teacher, who is kind enough to give us instruction and to answer our questions. Although optional donations could be lovely, the greatest offering we could make to our teacher is none other than the enthusiastic and sustainable practice of their instructions, whose essence is none other than mindfulness and meditation. For those of us who enthusiastically seek protection from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, there is no greater safety to be had than by passively noticing whatever past, present, or potential dread spontaneously cartwheel across the metaphoric stage of mind as we effortlessly sit in mindfulness, and then viscerally relax in harmony with meditation's next exhalation. For those of us who are eager to manifest the fulfillment of all mental, interpersonal, physical, and circumstantial needs, we only have but to vulnerably notice the various and sundry desires that could dance like sugar plums in children's dreams as we breathe in, and meditatively relax and release as we breathe out. Recent centuries have seen a rise in the popularity of training in the 3 marks of reality, or tilakkhana. Yet, as we sit in mindfulness once every 12 hours or so, we cannot help but automatically notice, recall, or anticipate stress, or dukkha. And as we meditatively relax into our exhalations, we cannot help but viscerally experience how that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel temporary or anicca, and is non-graspable as if they simply were not us, anatta. Let's go back up. Here we go. And as we meditatively relax into our exhalations, we cannot help but viscerally experience how that which we noticed during our previous inhalations could fleetingly feel temporary or anicca, and is not graspable as if they simply were not us. Even the tyranny exerted by the 5 mental poisons over our choices, utterances, and deeds is easily tamed through mindfulness and meditation. First, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation, whatever dread we vulnerably noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom. Second, as we meditatively release into our exhalation whatever desire we passively noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as empty as discerning wisdom. Third, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation whatever turmoil we vulnerably noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as all-pervading wisdom. Fourth, as we meditatively release into our exhalation whatever jealousy we randomly noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as void as all-accomplishing wisdom. Fifth, as we meditatively relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we fleetingly noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as equalizing wisdom. Each complex life form upon this big blue marble we call Earth has evolved to be hedonistic at heart. Yet no thing being a phenomena could give us as much of the bliss on tap is that which is afforded to us by the easy practice of mindfulness and meditation. Come, let us walk in the Buddha's footsteps, practicing mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, let us shift gears. It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've harnessed my autistic special interests and my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. And now we turn our attention to the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. So let's take a moment to briefly review the mechanics of both mindfulness as well as meditation. We'll begin with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, we are wired to notice in a very special way. We're wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Now let us consider meditation. Every time we exhale, thanks to the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. Now, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I check for questions approximately every 12 minutes or so. So let us sit in as sustainable a posture as we comfortably can, without forcing us, even if our initial attempts at sitting are asymmetric and ungainly. Let us surrender our perfectionistic tendencies in light of the fact that time and gravity can restore some of the flexibility of our hip joints we enjoyed as children. Ah, yes, I forgot to mention something. The most sustainable way for us to cooperate with our sympathetic as well as parasympathetic nervous systems is for us to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils, and for us to silently as well as mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air leave our nostrils. Remember, this is not active. This is not deep breathing exercises. We are forcing absolutely nothing. Remember, the key is for us to practice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. As we sit in meditation, we can take a lesson from the statue of the Buddha found in Kamakura, Japan, which demonstrates how every time we inhale, we generate a vertical traction between our tuchus and the back of our head. This causes our face to gently point down towards a place on the ground or the floor about 1 or 2 meters before us. Doing so opens our shoulder blades or scapula, thus decompressing the lung meridians. There are all sorts of ugly myths that have been lavished upon us by the minions of patriarchy. Myths that we must concentrate or analyze. We must focus or analyze. But the only way to do that is to rely upon this discrete neural pathways such as the medial or dorsolateral prefrontal cortices. The problem with that is it exhausts the front of our brain. It triggers our amygdala, which is the seat of anxiety and aggression, which is the opposite of what we hope to gain from meditation. Fortunately, when we cooperate with our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system, in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation, and do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, they calm the anxiety and aggression of our amygdala and stimulate the empathy of our anterior cingulate gyrus, which is very, very lovely. So no, it's not our job to pick and choose what we notice, thus indulging our rigidity and controlling tendencies. It is our job to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly whatever comes up. Mind's antics of sight, sound, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including the full spectrum of human emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. Doing so, well, let me rephrase this. Every time we exhale, in harmony with our parasympathetic nervous system, we involuntarily physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less tangible, more non-graspable. And if you enjoy similes, it could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Now, if you've had any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? And the answer is right in front of us. How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. So our job is not to get rid of what we notice. Our job is to dance between our inhalation and our exhalation, between our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous systems, between noticing and releasing. And the most efficient way to do this is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils, and to silently as well as mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. Now remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Welcome to the final portion of this morning's group meditation. If you have any questions about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, now is the time to ask. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Be as specific as you can. Mindfulness and meditation are all about cooperating with our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. You see, every time we inhale, we are already wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. And every time we exhale, we are already wired, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. Now, like the pendulum of a grandfather clock swinging left and right and left and right for as long as the weights provide drive to the pulleys, similarly, as long as we live and as long as we respirate, we're going to continually swing between the two extremes of mindfulness and meditation. Our job is not to eradicate perception, emotion, and or recollection. Our job is to dance with them skillfully. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this every time we feel air enter our nostrils, and to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class as well as group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.